Perfect. So what is a good credit score? So credit score generally ranges from 300 to 850. Like you saw on the previous slide, right? Mortgage programs generally require credit between 580 or higher. 580, right, is very low. M&T is one of the only lenders out there that have a 580 credit score or higher program. Most of them are 620. Borrowers with higher credits or can take advantage of more options, like we saw in one of the programs before. If your credit score was 620, you're able to qualify for that conventional loan instead of an FHA. So that's what it means when you have a better credit score, you may qualify for more products. And even if your credit score is not 620, right, we can always put you in a program. We're able to find a product for you, or we're able to help you improve your credit score so you can be able to meet the program guidelines for that certain product you're looking for. So what impacts your credit score? So credit is based off, many different things. 35% of your credit score is based on your payment history. So any late payments, that's the biggest thing, right? Late payments. Even if you're late for 30 days, these credit report companies, they will report it right away, and that will stay on your credit, and it will damage your credit. 30% is the amount owed. So if you're maxing out all those credit cards or your lines of credit that you currently have, it's going to hurt your credit. Typically, you want to be below 30% of your credit limit. That's going to, improve your credit score. To give an example, let's say that you have a credit card with a limit of 1,000. You want to keep your debt under 300. So you can always, use the card as much as you want, but make sure when you go time to pay, you keep it under 300. So you owe less than 300 a month. 10% is new credit. So you want to make sure that you have, you're not applying for too much credit. Many credit inquiries will hurt your credit, which will bring down your credit. So I'm going to repeat that again because it's a little bit confusing. So credit, having a couple credit cards is good, but having too many can hurt you. Each time you get these offers in the mail, you're like, okay, so, Capital One sending me this product, Chase is sending me this, Bank of America is sending me this with all these offers. It's good to have, 3-4 credit cards, but once you start applying for so many throughout the year, it's going to stay on your report, and it's going to hurt your credit having too many credit inquiries. 15% is the length of credit history. So length of credit is very important. So I always recommend, right, as soon as you turn 18, if you have kids, if you have family or friends, just recommend them to open up a credit card. Doesn't mean they have to use it all the time, but that's going to establish that line of credit. So in the future, when they go buy, a vehicle, when they go buy a house, they have that length of credit, and it's going to benefit them in a big way. And 10% is just credit mix. So they take a combination of your whole credit profile, and 10% of that goes towards calculating your credit score. All right, so cost associated with purchasing a home. So prior to you actually moving into the home, signing all those documents, there are certain fees involved. So one of the big ones is called an earnest money deposit. Earnest money is typically a deposit made to show good faith to the seller. What that means is that you're making a deposit saying that I am going to proceed with this home, and this is my good faith deposit, pretty much what it's called. Home inspection and appraisal. So you definitely want to get a home inspection before you move into a house. Home inspectors, right, they're very qualified. They're able to let you know if there's any structural damage, if something has not been, repaired, or there's need to be repairs done to certain things. We're not home experts, so Once you invite them to the house to the inspection, they might be able to find, electrical problems, maybe some roofing problems as well. That's something that we recommend to do before you purchase a home. And that's one of the costs prior to you closing that you have to pay for up front. Same thing with an appraisal. You want to make sure that what you're buying is worth what you're paying. So you want to make sure that you're not overpaying for something just because there's not that much inventory out in the market right now. Application fee and credit fee. So application fee, every bank is going to have a credit fee. It's pretty much for what we're doing. We're, guiding you through the process, pretty much getting you the loan and setting you up, from start to finish. That's what the application fee and the credit report fee is. And then you're looking at fees at closing. So at the closing, right, you're gonna give the rest of your down payment, and that amount always depends, right, on the type of product that you choose. Homeowners insurance, homeowner association fees, and property taxes, a partial payment will be required to be collected at closing. This is money that you will have to bring at closing so we can, pay those certain departments. So if you're buying a condo or a townhouse, those types of properties have HOA fees, homeowner association fees that you have to pay. Same thing with taxes, right? You always have to pay taxes. So those are certain payments that we collect at closing, and we'll disperse them to the certain people at closing. Title and lender fees. So same thing at closing, we'll collect title fees. Title's in charge of, making sure that there's no previous liens on that house you're purchasing, make sure everything's okay. They're also in charge of creating that new deed under your name and filing with your township to proof of ownership. Any notary fees that need to be paid. There's a notary that has to be there at the time of closing, and wiring fees. So those are all fees that you can expect at closing. And most of the time, right, we'll let you know way ahead of advance how much money you need so you can be aware. All right, so this everyone loves, right? How can you save cash at closing? So seller concessions, that's a major one. A seller concession is, money given by the seller to be paid towards your closing. Everyone loves that. Now, a lot of sellers are willing to give you a seller concession, but it doesn't hurt to try. Once you meet with a real estate professional, they'll be able to negotiate that with the seller, and they might be able to give you some seller concession to pay towards your closing. And different products, right, they limit you to the maximum amount of seller concession they can give. So just to give an example, let's say you're doing a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac loan, which is a conventional loan. The limit of that seller concession is between 3 to 9% of the loan amount. A VA loan, so 4% can be given by the seller. USDA loan, the seller can provide up to 6%, and same thing with an FHA loan. The seller can provide up to 6%. So seller concession, right? It's great. That's why we recommend a great real estate agent, because they're able to negotiate and hopefully get you some money towards the closing. There's also resources out there that can help you with down payment assistance. If you look through the slide, right, there's nonprofit organizations out there that can help. Families, employers, right, they're always, if they can, they're always want to give you a gift that can help towards the closing or a down payment. Specifically, M&T currently has a $5,000 grant. So that grant can be used towards your down payment or closing. There's often government programs out there that can be combined with our grant that can help you towards closing. State and local housing finance agencies can help you find funds for closing. Same thing with city or county. There might be counties out there that are given a grant anywhere between $5,000 to $25,000. Employers, find out with your employers, right? They might be able to give you some funds to help with the purchase of your home. And the biggest one is nonprofits. Definitely look around wherever you're looking for and research nonprofits, because a lot of times we are seeing that majority of these grants are coming from nonprofits. All right, so like I mentioned before, it's great to have a professional real estate agent. It can help you with the whole buying process. And this is a little bit of what they do. They also educate you on the buying process. So it doesn't hurt to have a lot of experts giving you advice on, what's the procedure? How do you buy a house? Real estate agents, right? They help you find the right property. They'll work with your budget. They'll work with what you're looking for in a house, and they'll go ahead and do all the research on their side and show you many properties that fit your needs. Once you find a property, they submit and negotiate the offer for you. So if finding a professional, they will really work with you. You have to feel comfortable with them, since they're going to be conducting the whole transaction for you. And at this time, right, when they submit the offer, they're also able to negotiate that seller concession. They can also advise on the experts around the area. So they can advise of a home inspector that may be able to help. They can advise of an attorney. Sometimes you need an attorney when you're doing a real estate transaction. It all depends on what state you live in. And they can also advise on any, mortgage professionals that they work with that they can recommend. The real estate agent will also coordinate the home inspection, the appraisal, and if there's any city inspections, they're there from start to finish to help that inspector with that. So what that means is you do not have to be involved in the process. They will take care of all that for you. And one of the biggest things they do as well is they look at the home inspection report once it's completed, and they're able to negotiate with the seller on the repairs that are needed for that property. So that's a very big one. Nowadays, a lot of these sellers are just wanting to get rid of the house. They don't want you to do a home inspection, and a home inspection is very important. To give an example, I just had one of my clients last week. They were almost purchased a home. They had a home inspection. They found out that there was a lot of termite and mold damage in the basement. If they would have skipped the home inspection process, they would have been stuck making all those repairs themselves, and it would cost them a lot more money in the future. So having a home inspector give an inspection of the property is recommended. All right, and same thing, right? The real estate inspector, right? You're paying for them. They're giving you all their attention. They're going to make sure that your interests are protected and that you're getting the best deal possible. All right, so on this slide, right, we can talk a little bit about the time frame of the mortgage process. So we'll start out in the very beginning. We like to ask questions. We like to know what your goals are, right? What type of property you're looking for, what your needs are, in order to better get a whole picture of what you're looking for. The next step is to get pre-approved. So that pre-approved process is, we go into very much in detail. We look at your income, we look at your employment history, we look at all your debt, we look at your credit. We go through pretty much every step-by-step on what we talked about before to make sure that you qualify for the mortgage. And we like to do this early on in the process because that's going to determine how we're going to proceed. If you're pre-approved for, a loan amount that's not in your budget, then you know what we need to go ahead and fix that. So in the future, when you try again, you'll be able to qualify for that number you're looking for. And at this point, right, we also look at credit. So if your credit's below 580, we'll go ahead and stop right there. We'll get you connected to one of our credit specialists, and we'll make sure that we get you above 580 so we can approve you for that mortgage. After you get pre-approved, we recommend you find an agent. So we can definitely recommend agents in the area that you're looking for. Like I mentioned before, right, an agent will go ahead and make sure they find the right home for you. This process can take 1 week, it can take a couple of days, or it can take several months. So they're there from you from start to finish, and they'll walk you through the whole process. Once you find that home, they'll work with you to, see what's the right offer they should make for the house, and they'll be able to submit the contract. So once you have a contract rate has how much you agree to pay for the home, how much money you're putting for a down payment. And in most cases, this contract is non-binding. So that means, right, there's certain stipulations that you can write on that contract that will benefit you. So let's take the example I gave before, that if a home inspection comes out with many problems, you're able to walk away from that contract. And that's what my clients did before. There were so many problems with the property that the seller did not want to fix. So good thing they had the correct wording on that contract, and they were able to back out of that deal and continue to search for a home. After you have a executed sales contract, that's when we will go ahead and submit the full mortgage application. The full mortgage application is a little bit different than the pre-approval. The pre-approval is step one. We look at all your financials and make sure you qualify. And then once you apply for the mortgage, you submit the full mortgage application. That's when you have a property address, and we're able to make sure that property qualifies for a mortgage. After the mortgage application, we'll go ahead and do the appraisal. We want to make sure that you're not overpaying for that home. Next step is the home inspection. We want to make sure the property is in good standing. There's no major issues. And once we receive that appraisal report and that inspection report, we'll go ahead and either approve or decline the loan. We have to, look at those reports to make sure everything is up to standards. Once we get that approval, we'll go ahead and order the homeowner's insurance. We'll do the final walkthrough, which is considered, it's a big step, right? We want to make sure before you purchase a home, before you go ahead and pay this large amount of money, that the sellers did not do any major damage right before selling the home. And then the last step is closing. So closing is, that's where you work for from the beginning. You sit down, you sign all the documents, you get the keys, and that's the best feeling in the world, getting those keys and being able to move into that house, knowing that's all yours.